King Jesus, King Jesus. Hey, okay. A pretty innocuous report came out in Stars and Stripes magazine, which is a military magazine, a military newspaper, in their online edition. And it reads, Navy Strategic Air Wing Commander fired. It was reported on the 17th of March, 2 days ago, 2015. Dateline Washington. It says the Navy fired the commander of an organization whose aircraft follow the President and the Secretary of Defense to directly contact the submarines, bombers, and land-based missiles that comprise the nation's strategic nuclear forces. It says a Navy statement said that Captain Heather E. Cole was relieved of her duties as commander of Strategic Communication Wing 1 based at Tinker Air Force Base, Oklahoma, for what it called a, quote, loss of confidence in her ability to lead. A spokeswoman, Commander Jenny Groenveld, said the firing was based on findings of an investigation into her management of the wing. No details were released. It says Cole's Air Wing has no role in operating nuclear weapons, but is responsible for the Navy squadrons whose E-6B Mercury aircraft provide communication links between the President and the nuclear forces. Seems like a pretty innocuous report. They're portraying as a long-term investigation found that this officer was not up to the task of running her command. But this morning, a report came out in a Russian-based media outlet, and it says, Dateline March 19, 2015, that a top U.S. commander under arrest for refusing to fire nukes at Russia. It says that a new report circulating in the Kremlin, prepared by the Foreign Intelligence Services, states that President Barack Obama's nuclear war communications commander has been arrested and relieved of her command for failing to transmit launch codes authorizing the atomic weapons first strike attack on the Russian Federation in coordination with a similar surprise attack planned by the United Kingdom. It says, according to Russian intelligence sources, U.S. Navy Captain Heather E. Cole was the commander of the U.S. Navy Strategic Communication Wing 1, located at Tinker Air Force Base in Oklahoma, whose E-6B Mercury aircraft provide the communications link allowing President Obama and U.S. Secretary of Defense Ashton Carter to directly contact the submarines, bombers, and land-based missiles that comprise the United States Strategic Nuclear Forces. It says on Monday, March 16, Captain Cole received from the Pentagon a launch code authorizing a limited nuclear strike against the Federation, but which failed due to a critical permissive action link failure, thus causing her to abort this planned attack. As a permission action link is a security device for nuclear weapons whose purpose is to prevent unauthorized arming and detonation of the nuclear weapons, intelligence experts in this report explain the critical failure in this instance was the added security measures ordered by the former U.S. Secretary of Defense Chuck Hagel prior to his being forced out of office last month over his refusal to have any part in this attack against Russia. This report further explains that Secretary Carter was not aware of Secretary Hagel's permissive action link security changes, thus allowing Captain Cole to abort this planned nuclear attack. For her failure to communicate the launch authorization to U.S. nuclear forces, this report continues, Captain Cole was arrested on Tuesday, March 17, relieved of her command, and then taken by armed guard to U.S. Naval Air Station Miramar in San Diego, California, where she has remained incommunicado. The Russian intelligence sources report on Captain Cole's refusal to start World War III further states that her actions mirror those of Soviet naval captain Vasily Arkhipov, who during the Cuban Missile Crisis in 1962 also refused to obey orders to launch nuclear weapons against the United States. Upon Captain Cole being arrested, President Putin has ordered the Federation strategic nuclear bomber forces on their fail-safe locations in the Arctic, which is the fastest route from Russia to the U.S., and expansion of the Northern Fleet's combat operations into the Norwegian Sea, and continued combat air operations against NATO forces in the northern border.